This might be actually, in the short amount of time, the most views I've ever seen on an interview on YouTube, period, bro. 17 million in 5 days.
Dang.
So,
that's a lot.
Y'all want to know the craziest part about all of this? Like,
what, bro?
Yesterday, I was like going downtown and like they really having like a major protest. Like, it's huge, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it was insane how many people was there, bro.
He said he's
Did you
seen
go
that.
join in?
Nah, bro. I was trying to get my car started.
Okay. How do y'all think I say this guy's name? Bassem?
Bassem Youssef.
Well, I don't see it. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Piers
Palestine.
Bassem Youssef. Palestine's treatment.
Youssef.
Yes, guys. So this video is like highly requested right now. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. I'm excited. Let's go.
Well, joining me now to discuss the conflict in Israel and Gaza is a TV host and satirist, Bassem Youssef.
Shit.
Bassem, it's great to have you back on the program. I wish it was under different circumstances.
I'm sorry. Let me just get this out before we record.
You don't say nothing stupid, man.
That nigga look like Raid off of Mortal Kombat.
He looks like a real
Raiden.
Raiden.
That nigga said he looked like Raid. Just go ahead and shut that shit up.
He gonna spray on some ants.
That nigga said he looked like Raid.
My nigga look like he came from D.
Come on, man. I can't.
Well, joining me now to discuss the conflict in Israel and Gaza is a TV host and satirist, Bassem Youssef. Bassem, it's great to have you back on the program. I wish it was under different circumstances. First of all, what is your reaction to what happened on October the 7th?
Oh, it was terrible, of course. I mean, we kind of get our news kind of also secondhand because, you know, my wife's family, they live in Gaza. They have cousins and uncles there. And their house also was bombed. We haven't been able to communicate with them for the past 3 days. Communication are lost. So we don't know actually what is the how are they doing. But you know, we're used to that. I mean, it's just like it's very repetitive. We're used to that. We're used to them being bombed every time and moving from one place to the other. You know, it's just like those Palestinians. They're very dramatic. Israel killing us. But they never die. I mean, they always come back. You know, they're very difficult to kill, very difficult people to kill. I know because I'm married to one. I tried many times, couldn't kill her.
What?
I mean, there's a dark humor there, and I understand why. Because
no, it's not dark humor. I try to get to her every time, but she uses our kids as human shields. I can never take her out.
Oh, he has a little seriousness.
I understand the humor, but to be serious, Bassem, about this. Tonight,
I will be serious. Now, I will be serious. I was watching your interview with Ben Shapiro, and I'll tell you one thing.
Yeah.
I think that Ben Shapiro is one of the smartest people who ever walked this earth. He's very, very smart. I follow him, and I believe everything he said. And when he came on your show, his solution was, and I quote, his solution was that the solution for this is for Israel to annex Gaza and to kill as many son of bitches as possible to make sure that this will never happen again. And anyone who call for a ceasefire will be a terrorist sympathizer. So God forbid, I don't want to be labeled as a terrorist sympathizer. So I agree with Ben Shapiro. I think we should kill as many son of bitches as possible.
Well, let me,
so far,
but Bassem,
so far 3,500 people were killed, including 5,000 son of bitches in the bombing of the Baptist hospital as we speak right now. 1/3 of those 3,500 were children. So my question to Ben Shapiro is, how many more son of bitches do we need to kill so Ben Shapiro is happy?
Okay,
because it changes
Bassem,
from one year. It changes from one. I'm sorry that. Listen, I'm really at a disadvantage here. I'm looking at a camera. I don't see you. I can hear you on my ears.
The reason I'm interrupting
so
is I think you might be. I think you're conflating different interviews with Ben Shapiro. He didn't use the phrase "sons of bitches" with me. Let me play to you what he actually said on my show.
He did. Go back to your interview.
No, he didn't. That was another interview. But let me play what he said to me here.
Well, frankly, I don't believe in proportionate response to terrorism. I believe that the way that you stop terrorism is with wildly disproportionate response. That doesn't mean in terms of targeting civilians. It means in terms of killing as many terrorists as humanly possible and allowing them to dictate the terms of engagement by hiding behind civilians in areas that they are supposedly responsible for means that the only option for Israel is to surrender to Hamas's hatred of its own citizens, its willingness to use its own children as human shields. No country worth its salt could ever do that.
Now, that is substantively different to what you said he said, right? He's talking there
but
specifically about Hamas terrorists.
I agree with him. The thing is, the question is, what is a proportionate response? Because
Yes.
it has been different from one tier to another. So if you look to this graph, for example, this is the death of Israeli and Palestinians, and it's changing from one year to year. It's like fluctuating like crypto. So my question is today, what is the going rate today for human life?
That's
I mean,
crazy.
2014 was a great year for Ben Shapiro. 88 Israelis were died, and there was 2,329 Palestinians killed on the other side. That is one Israeli
Hey,
for
can we
27 Palestinians. That is a very good exchange rate. What I'm saying is,
I'm just saying, I'm not trying to laugh. He is being comical, so it's trying. I'm trying to really be.
Stop being comical though. He's being serious now though.
No, he said it's like it's switching, it's fluctuating like crypto. I was like, oh.
He's being comical when he says he really agrees with
I
what
was
Ben
like,
Shapiro's saying. Though.
Yeah, it's just like
That's the comical part, but he's being so serious about what he's saying.
serious.
Yeah, I know he being
Crypto
serious.
fluctuates.
Yeah, I don't
I know.
really know how to feel about this. This
no,
is
but it's
crazy.
just like it was just the analogy used to compare
So
the bodies.
I have a question though. So like how are you saying all those Palestinians have been dying over the years? Was it like is it like a war thing or was it just like innocent or what was the situation?
It been fighting over that land for years, bro.
When I think of the Middle
it's the
East, I
war
think
thing?
of terrorists sometimes. I'm not like the whole Middle East, but from my perspective, that's what I think of.
I might be tripping, but I probably think it's still religion because that's what it was back in the day.
2014 was a great year for Ben Shapiro. 88 Israelis were died, and there was 2,329 Palestinians killed on the other side. That is one Israeli for 27 Palestinians. That is a very good exchange rate. What I'm saying is, what is the exchange rate for today? So you guys will be happy. That's my question.
Well, it's not me. It's not me, guys. I'm not on either side.
No,
here.
not you. Like when I say you guys, I say like the people on the other side of that. I know that you don't think like that, Piers. You're one of the good guys. But let me tell you something. I mean, the reason that I'm using this is that I can't remember what happened in 2014. And there was no music festival, but there must be something. I mean, they must do something. It is their fault. It has to be something. I mean, 2018, 300 Palestinians died. Who's counting? You know. So the thing is, what my question is, let's find what is the exchange rate for human life today, so we expect the future death of Palestinians, and we'll be happy to it.
My response to that would be this, Bassem. I've thought carefully about this because I think it's very tricky for people like me to immerse ourselves into a conflict where we're not directly involved. And I thought carefully about what I feel about this. I feel that the scale of what Hamas did on October the 7th supersedes anything else I've seen in this conflict, really ever.
Wow.
The savagery, the butchery, the slaughter of 1,300 people, the shooting of babies, the
100%.
kidnapping of grandmothers, and so on. So if we can agree on that, which I think is inarguable, then the question then becomes, again, about proportion. I don't disagree that there's been a lot of bad stuff on both sides going back historically for decades. But if we agree that this was on a different level altogether, quite deliberately by Hamas, designed to provoke... No, here's my question. Let me ask you a question. And the question, because you raised it earlier about proportion. I honestly don't know what the proportionate response is. I honestly don't. I don't. I've been watching the airstrikes this week thinking...
So what's your question?
Well, I would ask you, if you were Israel, what would you...
If I was Israel.
If you were Israel and that had happened to you, what would you think would be the appropriate way for the country to respond?
I would do exactly like Israel did, kill as many people as possible since the world is letting me do it. I mean, I can do it because I can. You know, but the thing is, you know what? I agree with you, and you know what? I'm going to be even ahead of you because I see the question coming. Do you condemn Hamas for the atrocity? Yes, I condemn Hamas. I condemn Hamas. Hamas is the source of all evil. They're a reason for everything. And you know what? Let's for a minute imagine a world without Hamas.
Right.
What will this world look like? Let's give this word a name, and let's name this word the West Bank. Hamas has absolutely no control in the West Bank, and since the beginning of this year, only through August, 37 Palestinian kids were killed. No music festival, no paragliding, no Hamas. Since the occupation of the West Bank, 7,000 Palestinians were killed. No music festival, no paragliding, no Hamas. I can go on and on and on and on.
No, but you don't need to, because in a way you're preaching to the choir. I've followed this crisis.
Oh no, you're not preaching. So the thing is, like,
in the sense that I know that what you're saying has validity. Of course,
Piers. By the way, Piers. I am at a disadvantage here. I can hear you. I cannot see you. I am in a claustrophobic room, And so please cut me some slack and don't interrupt me and interrupt my points.
Sure.
So because this has to be fair.
Understand.
Because if you want to only hear your opinion, I can just condemn Hamas and go home. I can do that. So do you want to do that, or do you have a much more nuanced conversation?
No, I absolutely want to have a nuanced conversation. I wasn't aware I was interrupting you. I thought I was letting you speak.
Amazing. So I would say I really applaud Israel for doing one thing that no military force in the world does. Because I heard Ben Shapiro and I heard Ron DeSantis, and they said Israel is the only military force in the world that warns civilians before bombing them. I mean, how fucking cute. That is so nice of them. Because with this logic, if Russian troops started warning Ukrainians before bombing their houses, we're cool with Putin, right? I mean, okay, Habibi, you have warned them, go invade, it's fine, you have done your job. I mean, the thing is, and I understand, and I also heard Ben Shapiro talking about...
I don't think so.
Listen to it again.
Because I don't think Ukraine invaded Russia.
Right, yeah, it's the other way around.
I heard Ron DeSantis, and they said Israel is the only military force in the world that warns civilians before bombing them. I mean, how fucking cute. That is so nice of them. Because with this logic, if Russian troops started warning Ukrainians before bombing their houses, we're cool with Putin, right? I mean, okay, Habibi, you have warned them, go invade, it's fine, you have done your job. I mean, the thing is, and I understand, and I also heard Ben Shapiro talking about Human Shield. So you remember my wife's family, they live in Gaza. So I asked them, I told them, when Israel gives you the nice warning, the cute warning, does Hamas force you to stay in your home so you can be bombed and use as human shield? You know what? Hassan, here, my wife's cousin. He's a loser.
He didn't talk to them.
He told me, when I asked him, does that happen? He told me, no. The lying son of a bitch lied.
Talk to who?
Didn't he say he couldn't talk to his family there?
I mean, it's off and on. But that was a crazy point, though. Because, I mean, you go outside, Hamas might get you. You know, your chances here might be better staying inside.
But I think he was being sarcastic.
No, yeah, he was. But no.
You say your chances better to stay inside?
No, I think he's serious about that.
I'd rather fight a bullet than fight a bomb. I'd try to run.
I think he was serious about that though.
Here, my wife's cousin. He's a loser. You know. He told me. When I asked him, does that happen? He told me, no. The lying son of a bitch lied to me. I told him, you don't understand. Ben Shapiro and Ron DeSantis keep saying that Israel warned you and Hamas asked you to stay put. So I told you, he's a loser. He never kept a job. He even failed in all of the interviews to become like a human shield. I would believe Ben Shapiro.
Let me ask you this, Bassem.
So let's go with that. No. Let me ask you.
At some point, I must be able to ask you a question.
Why does he keep making jokes?
It's not a monologue for you, Bassem.
If we agree that for the 14,000 casualties, I mean, who's counting, are human shield, does that mean that every single one of those civilians was standing, obscuring a military target behind them? Because that's a lot of weapons. I mean, Hamas is packing.
No, of course it doesn't. And look,
so there's some collateral damage. Lots of collateral damage.
Yes.
It's fine, yeah. You kill some to save some and then kill some more. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Well,
I agree.
let me ask you this. Again, it comes back to proportionate response.
He's making points.
Yes.
When the world decided it had to get rid of ISIS because of the appalling butchery they were carrying out, it did so by also killing, very sadly, a lot of civilians along the way by doing airstrikes against places which
but killing civilians are inevitable. You said that in the beginning.
My point is,
it's inevitable.
Yeah, but once Israel has decided that they want to get rid of Hamas, and Hamas is embedded with civilian population, I'm very concerned about what's going to happen next. I've written a column tonight saying, I remember the Iraq War, which I opposed, right? I remember all this. So my question for you is, what would you think would be an appropriate response by Israel to what happened?
Well, these are years of disproportionate responses of Israel.
Right.
Did it solve the solution? Did it solve the problem? Did it work before, so it will work? What will be the surprise this time? What will be the twist that will make this work this time? What will be different this time? Seriously, I mean, this is only the last 15 years. I mean, because it's too many papers. I just got this. But how will this be different? And the thing is, I am so glad in the introduction that you mentioned the Iraq War. I applaud you, Piers, for saying that, because you were honest about it. You said that spreading lies, like WMDs, make people look at those people as less of humans, and they would accept the death of 1 million Iraqi, whether by sanctions or by invasion, right? You are a good man. This is amazing. And you know what is similar? Is when you spread the lies of 40 decapitated babies, although it was refuted. So what happens when people hear that, killing babies is horrible. But when you say decapitated 40 babies, you are planting a certain image
with a certain
trigger in people's mind.
Who has said that? Who has said 40?
Who has said that? Who has said 40 decapitated?
Who has said that?
You have repeated.
No, I haven't.
What?
I've never said that.
You haven't said on your show 40 decapitated babies?
Never.
Ben Shapiro didn't say it?
No.
Ron DeSantis didn't say
Nobody
it?
has said
it. Okay, Piers.
No,
nobody said it?
No.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm wrong. Decapitated. Here's the
sarcastic.
The thing. What happened? No, you're wrong.
So.
But the thing is, when Iraq, the thing is, the same thing is happening in Iraq. Ben Shapiro
That's not
once
him being
tweeted, not even about Gaza,
Trying
about
to say
the West
nobody
Bank,
said
when
it at
Israel
all.
continued
That's what
to
you're trying to
build
say.
it.
Like, nobody said it.
Yeah.
He's saying nobody said it on the
He
show.
is being sarcastic.
That's not being sarcastic. He's saying nobody said it at all. Like nobody brought it up.
we know.
That's what he's talking about.
People did say that though, and it
Nah,
was
bro.
debunked.
He
And he's
has
bringing out
some
the point-
points.
He's bringing out the point that like that story was fake because
No,
they debunked it, and he's saying it's put in a certain image, and he's getting on Piers for saying it on the show, but Piers saying they didn't say it on the show, and he's like, really, y'all didn't say
No,
it.
we gotta find that. But nah, bro, everything he's saying is not sarcastic though.
No,
Yeah,
I thought he
not
was talking
everything
to him
he's
saying
saying
like none of them said it. Like talked about the babies getting killed. That's what I
They
thought.
probably
he was
actually
saying.
did. He said they did.
That's how I was getting it. That's what I was saying from
You
it.
said
I think
Pierce
he's calling-
being sarcastic?
No, the dude.
I think he's calling them out for saying it. Then he's saying nobody said it. He's like, really, none of y'all said it.
Yeah, that's what
That's what
he's
I'm saying. Like none of them said it at once. Like about the babies.
I wouldn't say that's like sarcasm, though.
Like I think he was
not.
saying like
He's like, you know what he's doing. Yeah, it's obvious.
he's like yeah.
His
This
call-
is
he's
like
calling-
a
he's
this is a
calling him
crazy
out,
way to do
man.
an interview. I've never seen an interview like this. This is
calling him-
different.
He's calling him out for like that.
Who
I
is
feel
this
like
guy?
It's more of a call out than sarcasm.
Yeah, no, everything, bro. You gonna know it's gonna be direct sarcasm. But when he's speaking facts, like that's
Like
actually
the
like, he's
sarcasm
serious
was when he
about
was
that.
like, "My cousin's a loser. He
Yeah,
failed
he's-
multiple
he's-
job interviews for being a human shield." Basically saying like,
Yeah.
all that being human
Yeah,
shields.
you gonna
and
see the
collateral
sarcasm.
damage of the citizens being killed is a bunch of BS that's being allowed because they're calling it collateral damage, saying they're human shields for Hamas, which justifies the killing of civilians, saying that Hamas is using the civilians to protect themselves. So in order to kill Hamas, they have to kill the civilians, is what he's saying. That's what he's calling out, the hypocrisy in that statement. Because if Israelis were getting killed, which is what started this whole thing, everyone's wrong, but on the other end, the Palestinians get killed and people turn a blind eye to it, and they're like, oh, the Palestinians are supporting Hamas. Hamas is the reason they're getting killed, when they're just getting bombed and getting caught in the crossfire, and no one seems to care.
Bro,
I feel like that's where a lot of his sarcasm is stemming from.
Imagine doing an interview and not seeing who's interviewing you. That is insane.
I feel like a lot of the problem is that just both sides is wrong.
Oh yeah,
Oh
definitely.
yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
For sure.
I don't
Each
feel
side's
like
gonna-
one side's wrong justifies the other side's wrong. They both just wrong.
Definitely.
But I really
That's-
feel like
But they were like, these
I really
numbers
feel
looking
like
crazy,
the more
though.
so
Yeah.
the Hamas side is what's getting
they're
all the
terrible.
Palestinians killed. But
They're
You gotta
a lot of-
separate them.
A lot of the justification for the Palestinians being killed is they keep just blaming Hamas. Oh, it's Hamas' fault. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
So we got to kill all the
I
civilians
ain't
for
gonna lie.
Hamas. Da, 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 da. But most of the civilians being
What
killed
you
are
mean?
children and stuff. And
This
like,
information,
they have
bro.
nothing to do with Hamas.
This kind of feel like a genocide going on, bro.
Boy,
Like,
I agree.
From them numbers I see, this looks like a genocide.
I agree.
definitely.
And it's being allowed.
No,
Oh, okay, maybe I am wrong. Decapitated. Here's
you're
the
wrong.
thing.
I've never said
the
that.
thing. What happened? No, you're wrong. But the thing is, when Iraq, the thing is, the same thing is happening in Iraq. Ben Shapiro once tweeted, not even about Gaza, about the West Bank, when Israel continued to build the illegal settlement. He said, 2017, Israel likes to build things, and Arabs, not Palestine, not Hamas, Arabs like to bomb crap and live in open sewage.
Yeah, I thought that was very
the
ill-advised thing to say.
the Israeli defense minister, he said, those are human animals. And the thing is, Ben Shapiro should know better, because, you know, long before the Holocaust, before Jewish people were thrown in the gas chambers, the Nazi propaganda called them rats. Now, as a human being, I will never accept that another human being being thrown into a gas chamber, but a rat, kill 10, kill 1,000, 3,500. They are son of a bitch. They are human animals who live in open sewage and decapitate babies. And because of that propaganda, Mr. Morgan, that guy in Illinois, the 71 years old guy, he killed, stabbing the 6-year-old Palestinian kid in Illinois 26 times. And he used to play with him. They used to be friends. But he went in, marching into their apartment, stabbing his mother and killing him, shouting, all Muslims could die.
Yeah.
It took you 80 years to change one word from Jewish to Muslim. And then you transferred your guilt to us and took away our land.
Bassem, let me ask you. Let me ask you.
That guilt sucks, man.
Let me ask you a
Yeah.
question. How do we get from where we are now to peace?
Great question.
That's a great question.
Well, first of all, you need to change the perception. Nikki Haley, the American presidential candidate, said, we are in Israel in this because it's a fight between evil, good and evil. Now, if you already decided someone is good, he can do no evil. And if you decided someone is evil, it's good to kill them. Killing them is good.
That's a good point.
You see, and the thing is, it is not like something new. I mean, I look at history and I see, I'm sorry to say this, but Westerners has always dealt like this with indigenous people. You first treated them like savages, you know, Native American, First Nation, Aboriginal. They're savages. Kill all the savages. And then when they're almost extinct, you start feeling sorry for them, you know, like animals. So maybe the solution is that we kill as many Palestinians as possible, so the few of them that remains do not bother you. And maybe Netanyahu, when he lives for another 100 years, he'll become a tree hugger.
Let me just challenge you on this.
And he will campaign for preserving the free Palestinian.
You keep talking about Westerners like me. Okay, so let me return the favor, okay? Hamas is dedicated to the complete eradication of Jewish people.
I am not the spokesman for Hamas.
I'm not saying you are.
Why do you keep...
I'm not saying you are.
I'm not their spokesman.
You're talking to me.
I fucking hate them.
Bassem,
fuck Hamas. Hamas.
No,
are you happy?
You're missing my point. You're talking in a generalized way about people in the West who always talk about Arabs as savages. I don't.
No. I'm talking about America.
I actually led the campaign. I led the media campaign in this
listen,
country against the Iraq War. Okay, so I don't see... I
You
don't
are
see
one
people
of the
in the
good
Middle
ones,
East as
Piers.
savages.
You
But what
are
I would
one
say
of
is,
the good ones.
But what I would say
am not
is,
talking about you. You're great.
no, it's not about me
You're
being
amazing.
great.
We love you.
It's about the way Hamas behaved on October the 7th was like savages, like a pack of savages. It was the worst atrocity against Jewish people since the Holocaust. There has to be,
of course,
there has to be a response. And my
they
question
should be
for you
eradicated.
Is, my question for you is, notwithstanding the history,
Bassem,
Bassem, what is the proportionate response?
But I don't know. But there's no Hamas in the West Bank, and they're still dying there. So what's your excuse?
I don't have any excuse.
Okay, what's your explanation? Sorry, my earpiece went down.
Listen, I don't make any pretense that this hasn't been a massive problem between Palestine and Israel going back to the mid-40s. We all know this, right?
Piers, listen. I'm not saying that you're making excuses, but if you are adopting a certain point of view, you have to at least defend it. I'm telling you, there is no Hamas in the West Bank. What is the excuse? Not your excuse. What is the excuse to kill those people?
Well, listen, this question of proportionality is one that...
No, answer my question! I've been answering your question, you answer mine.
It's actually not my job to answer your questions. It's not.
Okay, not your job. I agree with you.
I'm more interested in you, who has family in Gaza, who's an Egyptian in the Middle East, right? I'm more interested in what you have to say.
Okay, I'm telling you. I think Hamas is the problem, okay?
Right.
Now, let's say Hamas is removed. Let's Hamas. I'm agreeing with everything. You want me to condemn Hamas? I will condemn Hamas, Hummus, Hassan, everybody. Guys, so wait. I can't hear you. The earpiece. Damn. Okay. Oops.
He swallowed.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I do need help.
I think just go back. Is he there?
You go back.
Can you hear
back?
me?
Okay, go. Thank you, guys.
Can you hear Bassem?
Yeah. Now I can hear you.
Okay.
So here's the thing. Can you hear? Okay. So Israel. Let's say, for example, Hamas ceased to exist. Okay. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Hamas ceased to exist today. Now, right now, in Palestine, in West Bank and Gaza, 20% of Palestinians go through Israeli prison system, whether imprisonment, whether interrogation, whether torture. And the rest of them, they live a life of daily loss of land, of homes, of life and they are suffocated by this. So let me ask you something. If you are a Palestinian living into these conditions for decades, would you sympathize with your
Hamas
oppressor
killing the Israelis.
or sympathize with the people who claim they resist them even if they are terrorists?
I have made no secret that I think the conditions Palestinians have had to exist under are completely unacceptable. I've said that for years. So the question then becomes, how do you forge peace between two warring parts of that region who for decades have approached peace, in my view, with mutual sledge?
I do think that we need to figure out what is the solution for peace. Because obviously this shit's bad.
I think only one side can win, bro.
Well, that's the way it's being approached right now. Only one side can win.
But I'm gonna keep it 100. Throughout life, throughout history, it's been one side only can win.
I have no other.
Yeah, I don't know.
I could sit here and argue with you. Like, what am I gonna say?
Like, we ain't seen nothing nothing in my lifetime. I don't know. Y'all have seen some that somebody can fix that is only one side can win. What I have seen all my life.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everybody right now thinks the only way to solve this is to bring other countries involved in it. But if we do that, then it's going to turn into a world war. So that'll be the bigger problem. So it's kind of like,
what do we do? I don't know. I don't know what to do, man.
But I mean, both sides are losing people.
This is why I chose not to become the president.
Like, both sides are losing people, so everybody's really losing at the end of the day.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point.
This shit might be.
Listen, I'm about solutions. I see problems. Okay.
I think that's the problem.
Before this situation happened, it was similar situations on this level over there in the Middle East.
Yeah, they've been beefing for a long time.
It's been like this.
Hamas came in to Israel and they shot up and killed a bunch of people at a music festival and killed a bunch of other people. That's where that number comes from. October 7th killed 1,400 people. That's what started this.
Yeah.
And then that's what started the bombings.
That was one day?
Yeah. That's what started the bombings. That's what started this response. That's what started this whole political thing of all we're seeing now. That right there, what's quoted on the screen. That is to blame for everything we're seeing. Way more thousands of Palestinians.
This whole shit is just bad.
And you know what I remember? You remember earlier they said the Palestinians said they want everything back, so there's no compromising over that. So everybody wanted to go all or nothing. What I heard and seen from the information.
Yeah, so the internet says over 4,000 people have been killed.
4,000
in Palestine.
Well,
only.
I thought that 5,000 people died in the bombing of that hospital.
What?
And it was like 2,500 kids.
Yeah, see, I don't think they got
I don't know.
Internet.
I don't know, though.
Internet's numbers.
Is that not what he said, though?
I don't know.
Is that not what he said? I thought that's what he said.
No, let's continue. This shit's insane, bro.
Shit, it's just bad. That's what I know.
Or sympathize with the people who claim.
This shit might be worse than
shit. Bad on both sides. Shit just bad all around.
Y'all think they could?
There's some Hitler ass shit. I ain't gonna
y'all think there ever could be a solution?
There's some Hitler type.
I don't know, man.
There's some Hitler type activity, bro.
What
Can we
mean?
agree to that? Like
on
both sides, maybe. Like it's just insane.
I feel like both sides. I feel like
no, I don't think it's on Hitler,
Hitler level is crazy, but
I think there's some regular Middle Eastern stuff because in Afghanistan they had terrorists, the ISIS. You had before that you had a lot of like small Middle Eastern countries used to have these type of problems already.
Well, I think it boils down to the same thing like they always do. You got two groups of people with disagreements, right?
Yeah.
There's probably a group of each side. There's probably on both sides, right? You probably got peaceful people who want to solve the problem peacefully. Mm-hmm. And then on both sides, you probably got
radical extremists.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, like I always say, you got good and bad apples in both pots. So that's why it's not like you can't say it's this side's fault or it's that side's fault. Like you can't. I don't think it's not that cut and dry, simple.
I think that was a good way to put it right there.
Okay.
Would you sympathize with your oppressor, or sympathize with the people who claim they resist them even if they are terrorists?
I have made no secret that I think the conditions Palestinians have had to exist under are completely unacceptable. I've said that for years. So the question then becomes, how do you forge peace between two warring parts of that region who for decades have approached peace, in my view, with mutual sledgehammers, with no actual desire to have peace? And I think it comes down in the end to great leadership. And I don't think there's great leadership. I don't think, well, hang on, let me make my point. I don't think there's great leadership on either side. Where is the Nelson Mandela figure here to come through all this hatred on both sides?
Nelson Mandela?
Yeah, where is that figure?
Mandela, Nelson Mandela actually have criticized Israel for being a horrible state. All of the South African
I know.
activists have actually
My point
called
is,
Israel.
my point is
Yes.
about how he responded to a country that was so divided. Is a template for how you get to peace, isn't it?
I haven't met Nelson Mandela, so I wouldn't know. But like there's a point. There's a very important point here. You know, I want to understand what is the logic of Israel carpet bombing Gaza. I mean, if there's a logic, if this will make Israel safe, I want to hear the logic. So if they continue bombing, what are they hoping to achieve?
Well, I think we know what their stated aim is. Their stated aim is to eradicate and wipe out Hamas. They believe Hamas are living predominantly in northern Gaza. They also are aware they're living amongst civilians. So it's an incredibly difficult thing. As I said in my monologue, you know, it is very, very difficult to see how they do this without massive collateral damage.
So if I can understand this correctly, basically Israel is doing this to pressure the Palestinian community in Gaza to turn against Hamas. Is that right?
I'm sure that's part of it, yes.
That's part of it. So this is exactly what terrorist organizations do, because terrorist organizations will have no chance beating a whole nation in battle. So they terrorize and they kill the civilians in order to spread fear and terror so they can turn against their government to change their policy or to resign. You have just compared Israel with ISIS.
No, I haven't. I don't see any comparison between
It's going to be the headlines tomorrow. Piers Morgan, Israel is ISIS.
Only amongst people who weren't listening. The comparison, which is more apposite, is ISIS and Hamas. They are both nihilistic terror groups intent on killing as many Jewish people and others as they can possibly kill. And you can't get peace with people like that.
Absolutely. You know what? I'm going to do something that nobody done on your television. You know what I'm going to do on your episode? I'm going to pretend that I'm an Israeli citizen. I'm going to put myself in the place of an Israeli settler in the Kibbutz. And I want to speak to my Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu, I have voted for you because you have promised us peace and prosperity and security. On the 7th of October, those son of bitches Hamas, they went into the fence that is regularly heavily guarded. Usually if there's like a dove that comes close to it, it will be shot. Those people went in and they went for 6 hours before IDF forces was deployed, killing our friends, our families, kidnapping our grandmothers and babies, and went in. I want to ask you, Mr. Prime Minister,
6 hours
after you have fractured the Israeli community and you have fucked our courts.
I think that's actually a really good point. That's the same point that Vivek had made. How did y'all let this happen? How did we let this happen?
Yeah, no, because that's supposed to be a super heavily guarded area. But I read that they were like somewhere else. Like all the troops were like spread out somewhere else. That's why they were able to get in and penetrate through that area.
Like you said, it could happen.
I'm trying to hear this point though. Like, where's he going with it?
Well, that's that point.
Shot. Those people went in and they went for 6 hours before IDF forces was deployed, killing our friends, our families, kidnapping our grandmothers and babies, and went in. I want to ask you, Mr. Prime Minister, after you have fractured the Israeli community and you have fucked.
I know they're killing babies, but just hearing the grandma shit just fucked me up even more, bro. Killing grandmas is just insane, bro. Oh man, I couldn't imagine like the horror you would feel.
No, this is bad. Like this is, it's an evil world we live in.
Imagine walking in on some shit like that, bro. Like,
no, I heard a story on they kidnapped this woman's grandmother and they killed her and they live streamed it on her Facebook or like something like that. And that's how the family found out.
It's no justification for that, bro. You can't be doing that for just land. It is actually some evil spirit going on.
That's extreme.
It's an evil.
That's pure evil. I mean,
that's
literally awful. So
no matter, there's no justification for no reason on either side.
Not no land, no money. Like
for no like
you killing somebody, grandmama.
I think these Hamas people need to be eradicated.
Well, that's what Israel is trying to do, and you see the backfire of that.
Yeah, no, it's getting ugly.
That's why it's so hard.
Another country.
The collateral damage is getting very bad. Is there no way like they could just like send their army in to go like find them rather than blowing up everything?
I think it's a thing kind of like when you fight in the cartel, right? They're not running around in uniforms. Right?
You don't know who.
He could be in the cartel. And I might not be in the car, like 3 of y'all and one of us right now. So if they ran up on us, they hit me too. I'm not in the car, you know?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
damn.
no, that's
so
a
it's
good
like,
point.
how do they? It's so.
That's a
This
great
shit
point.
is extremely complicated. It's not cut and dry at all.
That's a great point.
Like
you
it's not
made.
just the easiest solutions for this shit.
Yeah, that's a really great point you just made.
Kidnapping our grandmothers and babies and went in. I want to ask you, Mr. Prime Minister, after you have fractured the Israeli community and you have fucked our courts, our Supreme Courts, what are you doing with the money being given to you, to the United States? Also, you are carpet bombing Gaza with absolutely no regard to our hostages, our people. I heard a rumor in the kibbutz that you're doing that you let that happen as an excuse to carpet bomb Gaza, so you push them into Sinai. And I didn't believe that. That's like, not my prime minister. He can never do that. And then I watched an interview for Danny Ayalon. He was your chief advisor. He was also the Israeli ambassador to the United States. And you know what he said, Mr. Prime Minister? He said that the solution for those Palestinians is to go into a vast land of Sinai and live into tent cities temporarily, temporarily, wink wink, until we build Gaza again, and then we invite you back. يعني عبط احنا بقى. يعني فاهمني ده we've seen this movie before. So يعني and when I saw this, I couldn't explain to my fellows in the kibbutz how come our Israeli government is trading human lives for another piece of land. So as an Israeli citizen, I need to hold my Israeli government accountable. And as an American citizen, I want to know all of these money that we are giving to Israel. We're giving them $4 billion every year. Joe Biden said it's the best investment America ever done. Well, if I am in the place of Joe Biden, I would say, sorry, don't speak. I would say, if I was Joe Biden, I would go down and whisper in the ears of Netanyahu and tell them, I hate bad investments. They haunt me, like Littlefinger in Game of Thrones. But the thing is, this is the problem. Israel always victimizes itself, and I have never seen a victim putting their oppressor under siege and bombing them 24/7. Israel wants you to believe that they are the victim. Dealing with Israel is so difficult. It's like being in a relationship with a narcissistic psychopath. He fucks you up, and then he makes you think it's your fault.
All right,
you
Bassem.
look at Israel as Superman, but they're really Homelander.
Bassem.
Wallahi, they are shooting
Bassem, I wanna
fish
say
in a
one
barrel,
thing.
and they are annoyed with the splashes.
Bassem, I want to say two things. One, if you could just slightly manage your language. We are uncensored, but if you keep swearing,
I'm very sorry.
We have to apologise to viewers who may be offended by that.
I apologize.
But I understand passions run high,
the-
so let's not get too bogged down about the old swear
I
word.
apologize to the viewers. I apologize to the viewers for my language.
My second
and for
question is this.
After the sight of dead civilians.
After the break, we have the managing director of the Daily Wire, which is Ben Shapiro's company. We were going to interview him on his own, but he's happy to come on and talk with you directly if you are.
We need to
prepared
see
stay.
that.
Well, of course, I can stay, but again, I am I am in a disadvantage, and I would like to have my space to respond.
Okay, we'll come back after the break.
I do.
Stay there, Bassem.
Because here's the thing. There's two
Bassem,
things
we're
I want
going to go to a break.
Before, all right.
When we come back from the break, it'll be you and Jeremy Boring from the Daily Wire.
I have news.
We're taking a short break, Bassem. I'll be back. Welcome back to Uncensored. For more on the situation in Israel, I'm joined now by the CEO and co-founder of the Daily Wire,
shit,
Ben
it's gonna
Shapiro's
be good.
partner, Jeremy Boring. Jeremy, thank you very much indeed for joining me. I'm sorry we demoted you earlier to mere MD. You are the CEO and co-founder. You know Ben Shapiro better than anyone, really. I did a big interview with Ben, obviously, the other night, which went around the world and has sparked a big reaction, including from our guest, Bassem Youssef, who's still with us. First of all, you've been listening to Bassem and what he's been saying. What's your response?
Well, first of all, I make it a point not to speak for Ben Shapiro. He's got a 20 IQ points on me and speaks for a living professionally, so he's much better prepared to defend himself. But as his business partner, as his best friend, I do feel like I have to respond to the things that Bassem was just saying. First of all, the question of how many sons of bitches have to be killed in order to end this conflict, I suppose that the answer is as many of them as it takes. That doesn't mean that I or Ben or any decent person in their right mind is happy with the killing of civilians. I posted at the very beginning of this conflict that a woman or a child blown apart in Gaza is just as tragic as a Jewish baby killed in one of the settlements. That doesn't mean that Israel's actions and the actions of Hamas are morally equivalent. You know, the tragedy is the tragedy, but the moral equivalency is nonsense. If you entered Israel with the express purpose of targeting and murdering civilians with your own hands in cold blood, that is not comparable to Israel bombing targets in the Gaza Strip and killing civilians as a terrible, tragic consequence. War is terrible. war is an awful thing. That's why decent people don't lightly engage in war, and why Hamas should not have incited this war. You know, we can talk about the history of the Israeli conflict. I'm not a professional political commentator. I'm a CEO. I'm a screenwriter.
So all Palestinians
and I'm
are
certainly
Hamas?
not Ben Shapiro.
No.
I'm not here to discuss the
Well,
history. of the
that's what
Israeli
he's saying.
Palestinian
Equivalent.
conflict, but we also
I would
he
say
didn't
it's
say it like
almost
that, no.
equivalent.
That's what he's trying to make. That's kind of what his point was, pretty much.
He's saying like it's just, the tragedy is like it's tragic that they're dying, but it's not equivalent. He's saying that like it's not equivalent. I don't know.
He's saying I was thinking. I think
No,
he
he
was
said that
saying,
you can't say Israel is Hamas. Everybody is in Israel is Hamas.
He's saying that.
No. This,
I
I
said
think what he said.
Palestine.
I think what he was trying to say is basically like because at first what he tried to do was acknowledge the fact that someone dying on one side or on the other side.
yeah.
Innocent person is both
I agree
bad.
with
Okay.
It's all bad. Yes.
So yeah.
That's
So
what he
then
said.
I think he was trying to say basically, okay, so why did the violence occur on both sides?
Yeah.
So he's trying to make the argument that Israel was doing the things wrong that they did and trying kind to get the what are they called? Hamas.
I think he's saying, I think he's saying like Israel is doing the bad things they're doing in retaliation to what happened to them.
Yeah.
And he's saying it's not equivalent. He's saying they were attacked with the express purpose of killing innocent citizens and just going and slaughtering them. And their retaliation and the collateral damage of he said it's not morally equivalent because they're just doing that in response to try to weed out Hamas.
Yeah, so I think they're both like equal. If innocent people die,
it's equivalent, I would say.
Yeah, it's just I don't know what to do about this shit. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
But so is Gaza supposed to? So they calling all of Gaza Hamas? Then that's what I'm seeing.
Gaza is controlled by Hamas. That is their elected government. They want a political.
For real?
Yes, I read it in the Washington Post. They won like a debate where people voted and they won. So they're like in charge of Gaza.
So like when you put it in that perspective, now
That shit's bad.
But that's why. But Gaza
that changes a lot.
But there's two different parts of Palestine. There's the West Bank, which is like he said. There's no Hamas there. There's still people dying in there. There's still innocent people dying in the West Bank. But
you just told me they own that whole little strip because of them.
That's Gaza though. There's two different parts. I'm telling you. There's West Bank and there's Gaza.
So
West Bank has its own government, not Hamas. They're like in a whole different area. Then on the bottom half, that's the Gaza Strip. We got the barrier between them where Hamas came into Israel. That's controlled by Hamas, and everybody there is poor and it's fit like mostly children, and they're stuck. Like they can't get out because they can't go to the other countries because they're not taking them. Israel's just blowing it up, trying to weed out all the Hamas. Like Brock said, they don't wear uniforms, so they don't know who's Hamas. That's why the other countries are like, we can't take you. We can't take y'all because Hamas might come in here.
Man, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's why other countries can't take them.
Yeah.
Because if they take them, then they
might have
say,
a terrorist.
they over there now.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. So now Hamas is in our country. So really,
on both sides,
how
do you respond? But then how do you defend? Like, what do you do? What do you do? I don't know.
Yeah, all the innocent people in Gaza are like just stuck in quite literally stuck in the crossfire. Like they're poor. They can't get out, and like the only exit that they had to get out was bombed, and now they stuck. And they can't go to other countries.
It's messed up, but they voted for them people to be.
I don't know how Hamas came into power.
You know what I'm saying? That's like us voting.
What
for
do they
something.
vote?
Let me see if I can find it.
That's what he said. He said they voted them in.
Let me see if I can find it.
Oh, if they voted them in, well then damn.
Like that changes the whole. That changes my kind of. That kind of changes my.
That definitely does.
But I still heard that innocent people is dying though.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody's heard about that situation.
Yeah, I don't think. Okay, yeah. So let's just go ahead and nip that in the bud. None of us are. Nobody
condemns. Innocent people.
So let's get that out the way. Boom.
But-
okay. So now.
So you saying they strip of
Yes. Hamas came to power in Gaza after winning a 2006 political election. No elections have been held since then.
So
There's two major political parties, and
That is crazy.
yeah, Hamas is in control in Gaza.
That changes a lot because that's like us having a president and he did something, we supposed to stand by that kind of because that's messed up to me. That's how.
But then again, that's a bad system of government because they did that in 2006. Maybe a lot of them like maybe we wouldn't want them running this no more. There's probably
I'm pretty sure Israel assassinated the leader of Hamas that was called into power then. I read that also. Let me see if I can find that article, guys.
That is crazy.
This is all from Washington
Post. This shit's insanely
so
deep.
What make it more deep, that mean the people of that land voted for them people to...
I don't know how they came into power.
That's how it looks.
That looks pretty bad.
That looks bad.
I'm going to read you what this article says. Hamas, or the Islamic Resistance Movement, is a militant group that governs the Gaza Strip, a 25-mile-long, densely populated enclave of more than 2.1 million people. Hamas emerged in 1987 as an offshoot of the Muslim Brotherhood during the first Palestinian Intifada, or uprising against the Israeli occupation of Gaza and the West Bank. It was founded by Sheikh Ahmad Yassin, a Palestinian cleric. Its military wing, the Izzeddin al-Qassam Brigades, was established around 1991. Unlike Palestinian Authority, Hamas does not recognize the existence of Israel as committed to replacing it through armed struggle with the Palestinian state stretching from the Mediterranean Sea to the Jordan River. It says, in October 1997, the United States designated Hamas a terrorist organization. The group, supported by Iran, has used explosive rockets along with suicide bombings and kidnappings to target Israel. Hamas won elections in Gaza in 2006, defeating Fatah, the main Palestinian party that controls the West Bank. So that's what I'm saying. Gaza is controlled by Hamas. The West Bank is controlled by Fatah, the actual Palestinian government party. Israel has targeted Hamas leaders over the years. In 1997, Khalid Mashal, a top official, survived an assassinating attempt by Mossad, Israel's national intelligence agency, which poisoned him in the Amman, Jordan. Mashal was saved after Jordan detained the Israeli agents, and President Bill Clinton pressed Israel to hand over the antidote. Israel assassinated Yassin and another founding member, Abdel Aziz Rantisi, in 2004 and killed Hamas military chief Ahmad Jabari in 2012. It says, within Gaza, Hamas is currently led by the elusive Yahya Sinwar. Sinwar, who founded the forerunner of the Izzeddin al-Qassam Brigades, was previously imprisoned in Israel on terrorism-related charges, but was released in 2011 as part of a prisoner swap for the kidnapped Israeli soldier Gilad Shalit, according to the State Department. Ismail Haniyeh, considered Hamas' top political leader, is reported to live in Qatar, along with Mohammed Deif, the head of Hamas military ring. He was taking control of most public messaging from the group over recent years.
Qatar sounds familiar.
Yeah, Qatar's a different country.
They just had the World Cup there.
Yeah, they have the world's highest jumper. Isn't he from there? Qatar. That's the red country. They have a red flag.
Yeah,
the high jumper. Yeah, the number one high jumper in the world is from Qatar.
Yeah, the dude with the ball head.
Yeah, he jumped like almost 8 feet. Like
he
jumped like 7'10" or something crazy like that. So yeah. Gaza is controlled by Hamas. That's why Gaza is receiving the brunt of the bombings.
Those people who voted for them, tweaked.
I don't know how that happened though.
It was an organization, so like think about.
It doesn't say how they won the election. It just says they won the election.
So you think it'd be corrupt?
It might not be democracy.
Yeah, we don't know if they vote.
But
how that works, bro. But we have no idea. We just know that they beat the guys who are actually the right political party.
So they got the power. They're probably just zipping shit to get in the power. Yeah, they do now.
They probably just killed a bunch of people.
They probably just killed their way to power.
It doesn't say that though, but that's what I learned. That's how this article is how I learned all the content.
No, this shit's like a horror movie. This shit's insanely scary, bro. I'm mind blown. This guy.
I can see.
You know what? This is a little bit off topic, but a little bit not. This is actually why the right to bear arms is very important. Because that should never happen in America.
Oh man, no way.
Yeah,
absolutely not. Never.
Because everyone has a gun.
Okay.
So
unless you get bombed,
I got a weird question or a weird statement. So this is like, okay, you live in an area and there are like gang members, right? And the gang members take over, and then America said, well,
we got to bomb that area.
You got to bomb that area.
We don't know who. But America didn't say
similar.
that. It'll be like, say the gang members went to Canada and they went across the border to Canada, and then they flew in them things and killed as many Canadians as they could. And in the state of
North Dakota.
North Dakota, they voted for
the people that went in there
to do that.
So they're going to blow that shit up
in
retaliation. So everybody that's in North Dakota is going to get caught in the crossfire, which is what we're witnessing today in Gaza, which is really bad.
When they flew in on that, what is the thing called?
I don't
Paris
know what
Hills.
those things were called.
That was Hamas flying in?
Hell yeah.
Oh, the paragliders? Yeah,
Yes.
that's what that is. Yeah. That's why.
Yes.
Okay,
that's
now
why,
it's making a lot of
That's why
sense.
people are saying BLM is wrong for supporting them and putting out that
Hell
message.
yeah, they wrong.
But BLM has been wrong. They're a Marxist.
They stupid.
Organization.
That's why y'all
stolen
stupid if
money
y'all was
and full of
riding with
crap.
them in the first place.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I see why people
We did
stand
have a
for
Black Lives Matter
Palestine.
flag.
But we still
Well,
forgot
I
about
say we.
we still forgot about the West Bank. That is still the problem. They still getting hurt.
We didn't support it was the saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways.
Let's let Ben Shapiro, little brother, keep going.
Civilians with your own hands in cold blood, that is not comparable to Israel bombing targets in the Gaza Strip and killing civilians as a terrible, tragic consequence. War is terrible. War is an awful thing. That's why decent people don't lightly engage in war, and why Hamas should not have incited this war. You know, we can talk about the history of the Israeli conflict. I'm not a professional political commentator. I'm a CEO. I'm a screenwriter, and I'm certainly not Ben Shapiro. I'm not here to discuss the history of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, but we all saw what happened on October 7th. And the idea that Israel was not going to react severely to that, or that Israel should not react severely to that, is ludicrous. And
Jeremy, let me ask you
the idea that Ben
the
Shapiro
question.
should be a moderating voice, that Ben Shapiro should be, saying, no, Israel should not respond in this situation, that's nonsense.
Let me ask you though, Jeremy, the question which I think is the big question. What is a proportionate response to that outrage on October the 7th, which is the worst attack on Jewish people since the Holocaust? What is proportionate? If it's true, as reports are suggesting tonight, that there may have been a hospital hit by an Israeli strike and up to 500 people or more have died. That would seem to me, if that is verified, and it's not verified yet, we don't know exactly what has happened other than there's been a hit on this hospital. But if that is verified to have been an Israeli strike, that will strike many people as disproportionate.
Certainly. Well, first of all, I don't know what a proportionate response is or why we would want it. I suppose a proportionate response would be for 3,000 Israelis to go through the fence, gun down innocent Palestinian women and children, burn their bodies, burn them alive, take hostages, rape their women. No one wants a proportionate response. No moral person could possibly call for a proportionate response. The purpose of war is to defeat your enemy. The West has, in my lifetime, forgotten the purpose of war because the true cost of war is so terrible.
It is.
The last time the West engaged in war and won it was World War II. And they did it through incredible brutality. They did it by bringing their enemies to heel.
Yeah.
That's not a thing to rah-rah about. That's not a thing to look forward to. As I said, all decent people should avoid war. But I think the sort of lie of the post-World War II, the post-war consensus lie, is that somehow war in which you kill a bunch of people and don't secure victory is morally superior to war where you do secure victory. I would say that the only way to morally justify a war is to win it. Otherwise, the very argument that brought you into the war, this enemy must be defeated, ends up being proven a lie. I mean, absolutely. Afghanistan, I think America had every right to go into Afghanistan. The Taliban was harboring Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda flew planes into buildings in the United States, killed thousands of our citizens, brought the nation into untold agony, pain, and horror. America had every right morally to go in and destroy the Taliban and destroy Al-Qaeda.
Yeah, but I would argue,
the Taliban now rules in Afghanistan. The war was not won.
But that's my point, actually. I've done a column about this tonight for The Sun here in the UK, which is I was editor of a newspaper when the Iraq War happened. I opposed it very aggressively as the editor of the paper. And sadly, we were borne out by events. It was a complete disaster, the Iraq War, in my view. It was illegally contested, I think. And the consequences were appalling in terms of loss of life, 1 million people, in terms of ISIS being allowed to breed and create their merry hell around the world, in terms of complete dismantlement of Iraq itself as a functioning country. And I think Afghanistan, again, 20 years of attacking an enemy, which is now running the country again, seemed to me, again, to be kind of pointless. And I do wonder whether Israel, in its blind fury, which I completely understand, has thought through the consequences of actually launching a full air, ground and sea offensive into Gaza as to actually what happens at the end of that.
Well, I suppose Israel wasn't really given the opportunity to fully contemplate what the consequences of that action might be, because Israel didn't instigate this war. This war was instigated by a horrible terrorist attack on Israel, and a state is put in a position where it has to respond. Now, one might argue that the very fact that Israel has yet to actually launch their ground invasion means that they are actually making a calculation about what the cost will be, what victory looks like. Any rational person, any decent person can engage in a conversation about what is the appropriate response for Israel. Of course they can. But this sort of moral equivalency thing, I don't think is a sign of decency to engage in a conversation about moral equivalency.
Let me bring Bassem back in. You've been listening to this, Bassem. What's your response to what Jeremy's been saying?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the gentleman's name.
It's Jeremy Boring. He's the chief executive of the Daily Wire and co-founder with Ben Shapiro of the Daily Wire.
Hi, Jeremy. Please say hello to Ben Shapiro, and please tell him that I do think he is the smartest person to ever walk the earth. Thank you so much. So, as a response to Jeremy, I agree with everything you said. I mean, what is disproportionate? I mean, he just used the examples from Second World War in America, showing that civilian casualty is. I mean, I heard his voice. He was very sad. And as he was telling us, it is so inevitable to kill so many civilians because it's something that we cannot avoid. I hear the sadness in his voice. And I know that it's a very difficult decision to kill all of these civilians because that's for a higher cause. And I understand. But my question, I have two questions. The question is, how can you justify the killing in the West Bank where Hamas does not exist? And if the disproportionate response during over all of these years have actually worked, what will be new this time that did not happen before? I just want to. That was my question.
Okay,
that was my
question. I'm gonna.
Okay.
So
now, if I ask the question, can I say something on my side?
I'm so sorry.
Well, Bassem,
let her ride.
If the disproportionate response during over all of these years have actually worked, what will be new this time that did not happen before? I just want to. That was my question.
Okay,
that was my question.
I'm gonna.
Okay. So now, if I ask the question, can I say something on my side?
Well,
a little bit personal.
Bassem, with respect,
a little bit personal.
Bassem, with respect, I gave you half the show to have your side. Jeremy's had a lot less time. I am going to have to.
You want me
on.
to leave?
Bassem, I'm going to have to let you go because we've been on there with you for 40 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Bye bye. But listen,
bye.
I would like to talk to you again, and thank you for joining the program. I appreciate it.
Oh, by the way, my wife's family is all right, and they sent us a house. It's bombed. It's beautiful. It's going to be a good like Halloween theme. So
I'm very sorry for what your family are going through in Gaza, and I mean that very sincerely.
By the way, I don't know. I don't know I don't know him. By the way, I haven't actually met them. They didn't even come to my wedding. They couldn't because they are stuck in Gaza. Okay. And she never saw them because Gaza is not a destination.
Bassem, as I say,
we hear their voices and it's they die. It's fine. It's fine.
Bassem, I wish your family all the very best. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it.
I don't. Thank you.
That sarcasm is actually extremely dark.
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
I think the point that he was making, that he kept saying when he was like, how many people do you got to kill for like basically Hamas to be defeated? I think it is actually a good point if you think about it, because no matter what, it's just cutting the head off a snake. Another one's going to grow in its place because these people are grooming other people. So there's other people who believe what they believe. So you could kill all the grown Hamas people, but there are kids right now who are growing up, who are maybe 5, 6 years old, who when they get older, they will be Hamas.
You know what's radicalizing them? They're probably seeing all the devastation and seeing the world's response to it, and then they're probably just going to get radicalized and grow up.
So I don't know what you do. You have it's got to go. It boils down to the leadership, because somebody is influencing all these people to think this way and to join this group, and so killing them isn't stopping from developing more, is what I'm seeing. So they have to figure out what is the root problem. You have to stop from people from joining the group, basically.
You know what my
that seems like
that's gonna be
so
impossible.
That's impossible. I don't know how you do that.
Do you know what might help?
Do that. I'm just saying.
I have a crazy idea. This is crazy, but you know how Hamas is basically like in control of Gaza. So I think a way to maybe have a fixing solution, as they said, new leaders have to come into place. Maybe if they had like a new leader come in and they were like, this guy's going to take over, right? And they gave him some sort of protection. Like Israel endorsed this guy. It was like, yeah, we like this guy. He's Palestinian. We're going to protect him. So he comes into Gaza. He starts bringing in this new leadership, bringing in change. He's protected, and all that that's going to draw Hamas out, because they're going to try to take him out. So boom, you start taking them out. Boom, boom, boom. You get the Hamas guys out of there. Then the new leadership grows and plants its seeds and blooms into something, and maybe Gaza isn't such a horrible place. I don't know. Maybe that's a crazy hypothetical.
It does, it has to be but it has to be something like a Palestinian who doesn't want to.
You know what I'm saying? And that way to me, you know, that
but
way
the only
to me.
problem
What happens
is
to these
how do you
bad
get
guys,
that person in power over the people who are willing to fight dirty?
Because
dirty.
you know you might get somebody
Something has to happen to them.
from the West Bank who
But
has
they're gonna keep
good
coming.
policies.
They're growing.
That's what I'm
They're
saying,
teaching
bro.
their kids. If
Listen.
I kill you and your son is 6 years old, and then his mom is telling him they killed him this and that, and he grows up, he's gonna be Hamas no matter what.
Yeah, he's
so
gonna wanna
that
avenge
me
that.
killing you did nothing.
But I'm gonna
because
keep it 100.
He is going to.
I'm gonna keep it 100, y'all. It's not gonna stop no matter what because they've been fighting over that land.
That's what I'm
Since the
saying. It's
beginning
too
of
deep.
time.
It's
That's
too
what I'm
deep.
saying, though.
It's
That's
the
what I'm
kid.
saying,
It's
though.
gonna.
You
It's
need
too
new
deep.
leadership, as they said before. The leadership is bad on
But
both sides.
I feel like you still do that. It's still gonna be another radical group that's gonna form by themselves.
It's always. I never heard of Hamas.
But if you have leaders who are not bent on opposing each other and find some sort of common ground, like these guys are bad to both of us, they're gonna cause harm to both of us. We
But
can
like,
work,
think about
we can
like-
work together to eradicate it. That would draw you guys together and not apart.
It might not be a perfect solution, but there's no perfect solution.
because
That
we-
is
because
probably
we
the
already
best.
know- we already
That
know.
is the best plan.
But like, this
and we
how
already-
I'm
but
feeling.
listen though. We already know that Palestinians work in Israel. You know what I'm saying? Because Israel is where the money is. It's not in Gaza. They're poor. And West Bank, I don't know much about West Bank. I know it has the Palestinian government and it's relatively small compared to Israel. So Israelis, and Palestinians work together. They said there's a temple and a mosque that they're at, and the Muslims go, and then there's I don't know what it's called for Jewish people. I don't want to disrespect their religious gathering site. I don't want to call it the wrong thing, but they're close to each other. And they cross paths. They work together. They said there's Palestinians that work in Israel.
Yeah,
you
have to get someone who wants peace, like Martin Luther King.
But like, think about this. Okay, I'm gonna put this in it. In their Quran, in their their religion, it says that's their land. So think about you're reading this.
That's the problem.
You
That's
reading
the
this
problem.
on your book, and somebody's telling you this not yours. You're
That's what
over
I'm
with.
telling you. That's
You
what-
see what
yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's the
So
problem.
it's like you can't get rid of that.
That's why I think in other cases, in similar situations like this, it was politically driven. This is religiously driven. And
I
you
think
can't
it's
tell-
both.
hit different.
I think it's both.
You can't tell someone it is both, but you can't tell someone your religion is wrong. That book is wrong. You shouldn't. You can't.
No, that hit different.
He's not gonna. They're gonna preach that to their kid, and then it's gonna. And
It's gonna
never
forever.
end.
It's gonna
so
forever
I don't know
go.
what you do. What do you do? I don't know. It's an evil
They
world.
gotta
and-
separate. Yeah.
You can't separate it, bro, because like it's their religion. Like,
And if you
Nah,
keep
nah.
killing, if you keep killing Hamas, and then you're gonna have to kill. It looks like you have to kill civilians. But then if you keep killing Hamas, more Hamas is gonna keep coming anyways.
yeah.
So, but if you gotta kill them, if they come invading you, so it's like, damn, what do you do? What do you do? I don't know. I don't know.
That's the crazy.
Jesus
part.
got to come back. It's the evil world. That's the only solution. I think.
That's why I say it's only one winner. It's like I got.
But they gonna keep on fighting
bad.
though. Like they not. When is it actually won or lost? So do they just stop?
Genocide.
Oh, we just lost.
No, this looks like a genocide.
It's getting
But
ugly.
people are gonna still.
But the question that Bassem prompted is a great question. How do you justify the killings or the deaths of people who are dying in the West Bank that's ruled by the Fatah, who are the actual Palestinian government that's not Hamas, and they have no Hamas there? People are still dying.
But
can't-
like
can't-
that's what I'm saying.
That's what
Like
it's
they
both
probably.
sides.
That's why I said it's probably they probably thinking. Well, them people feel like this is their land. Like people feel like think about in your like each of them in their books, in their Bibles, in their religion saying Israel or Jerusalem
Is the promised land.
It's their promised land. So like think every day you read your book and it's saying this is my land, and
You know what
kind of
could
you
be?
and you looking and saying oh it's being took.
You know what could be?
That's a
you know
great-
what could
that's a
be?
great point.
That thing to the West Bank people dying. It could be the group of bad apples on the Jewish side that went and did that. So then the people who are actually trying to fight the war and are attacking for the greater good, they're like, well, look what y'all just did. And y'all make, like how we get mad at other black people because they make us all look bad. It's kind of maybe like that.
That's very true. That's very true.
It's so deep, bro.
You know, it's really deep.
This
But
is
so
a
deep.
crazy episode.
knowing that,
this
I
was.
think
This is
shining
super
some
deep.
light on like knowing that Hamas is the government that's in charge in Gaza, and that's where Hamas is actually located, and a lot of their leaders are located there.
It changes a lot.
You kind
That
of
does.
get a different perspective on
do.
why they're
Dude,
bombing
my
it so
mind
heavily.
is turning on another level.
And then
No.
another thing, bro. Like if we just go keep
It's
it
very-
100,
it's
no
very
no
sad.
sarcasm. I'm not even trying to like pick sides or anything. But at the end of the video, he was being real sarcastic because that wasn't his family's house on the picture. Because how did they send you that picture? How did they have data? How? How is the towers over? You just seen that picture.
No, Israel actually cut off the Wi-Fi and water in Gaza.
That's my point. So how did he take that picture of their house?
Send it to him. I don't know.
That wasn't their house. That's what I'm saying.
Might not have been. Yeah, guys, let us know what y'all think about this interview, guys. Yeah, this is insane, guys. What are the solutions? We're out here, man.